What a wreck. It's the wreckiest wreck I've done. I knew I'd done something wrong when all of a sudden I'm thinking, well, I'm not hearing anybody anymore. What happened? It's gone. Shoot. I wish, it would have been very easy for me to blame it on something else like Google, but I have to admit it.
Now, Jeff.
Yes.
We should pay more attention.
I know. I should not do anything on the computer that I'm using for the Hangout. I should do it over here on my other computer, but I didn't. I thought I could get away with it. Apparently not. Okay, so we're waiting for Father Dwight, and hopefully he'll get that. And now I need to update the Catholic Weekend. Boy, okay, let's see here. I'll start a new. I'm sorry to take up all your time, Father.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay. One more thing I have to do here because everybody was watching the via the Catholic Weekend SQPN site, and I have to change the link so that people can see us again. I'm in the basement, by the way. That's why occasionally you'll hear waterfall sounds above me. Okay, I'm going to update the post and put the new...
Well, look what I just bought.
I can't see.
Yay!
Oh, super.
What is that? Oh yeah, look at that.
My next book on my Lenten reading.
Here's the real thing, folks.
The real
The
thing.
real deal.
The real deal. You know, there's just something about turning the pages. I'd prefer to really have the book.
I've got it in my cart on Amazon.
You know, when people say that, I want to say this is like when they invented books, and someone said, you know, I just love to unscroll that scroll. It's nothing like that.
Well, Father, how do I get your autograph on this? Should you just write something on your screen right now?
I'm sure that if there was a touch screen, I could just do that. It would transfer straight over by email or something for you.
You know, wouldn't that just be the next thing?
Just take that Sharpie and hold up your iPad.
Okay, I don't know if the chat is with us yet, so let me send a message to Lynn to see if she sees us yet.
Steve, you reminded me when you brought up the stations that I had read this past week that you can receive a plenary indulgence, of course being if you meet the conditions, but by praying the stations. I don't think I ever heard that before. It's neat.
It was weird. I was when I was there last night, in my mind I was kind of in two places at once because I was remembering the seminarian Stations of the Cross we did down in Papua New Guinea, and in with their accent in my head, I was kind of like in two places at once.
Super still affected by that. That's so awesome.
You know, it's weird. It's
Steve,
still every day.
Steve, are you anywhere near Edmond, Oklahoma?
My sister lives there. That's near Oklahoma City. I'm about 90 miles east of there in Tulsa.
Okay. I've been out to St. John the Baptist in Edmond a couple of times to speak, and it's a
in
great
my mind, I was kind of in two places at once because I was remembering the seminarian Stations of the Cross we did down in Papua New Guinea.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, is that you?
With their accent in my head, I was kind of like in two places at once.
Super still affected by that. That's so awesome.
You know, it's weird. It's still every day.
Steve, are you anywhere near Edmond, Oklahoma?
My sister lives there. That's near Oklahoma City. I'm about 90 miles east of there in Tulsa.
Okay. I've been up to St. John the Baptist in Edmond a couple of times to speak, and it's a
in
great
my mind, I was kind of in two places at once because I was remembering the seminarian Stations of the Cross we did down in Papua New Guinea.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, is that you?
With their accent in my head,
We're hearing a loop.
Why are we running the audio over and over again?
Pepper's
wow.
still affected by that. That's so awesome.
You know, it's weird. It's still every day.
Okay, I muted Jeff.
Well, thank you for that. He doesn't.
I think he was playing the video in his screen.
And I don't have my phone. I left it charging. And
Oh yeah.
We've never had this many
I know.
problems.
Well, sometimes I think that the evil one just wants to do this to us. Okay, it's clear.
Okay, unmute yourself, Jeff.
Thank you. Conversation, and I thought I was listening to it live, but apparently that was the recorded loop conversation I was listening to.
Oh.
And then I heard, Angela, Jeff, is that you? Trying to figure out where that was coming from. What do you mean? Who's talking to me?
Tell me, Jeff, how does it feel to be muted?
Yeah.
It feels great, actually. I mute myself all the time, actually, with my mixer. But you guys never see that. But okay.
I feel we're not making a good impression on Father.
No.
I warned him that this is a very, very casual thing.
I'm just worried that he talks about train wrecks, not plane wrecks.
Yes. Well, I want to jinx myself. But,
Wow.
Okay. That was our train wreck.
All right,
let's
so
only
are
have
we going to go into, I guess we need to start thinking about how to wind this down.
Yeah, but
Jeff,
before we do
remember
that,
have
can
two?
we do a little bit of the? Go ahead, Maria. I'm sorry.
No,
Laura.
so you want to do what?
I wanted to do a little bit of that feedback.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest. Why don't we move into the feedback? Because one of the feedbacks, the written one, I'll read to us. I think that I'd like to have Father address, if he can,
Okay.
on Lenten practices involving food and meat on Fridays. Just as a heads up, Father.
That would be awesome. So everybody in the chat room, my apologies. I did a bad thing. And so I'm back. I think we've recovered from it. I do apologize to Father Dwight that we're taking up more of your time this morning, but we'll try to get on with this and wrap it up so you can get on with your day.
Okay.
I'm sure you're very busy. And then I'll spend probably the rest of the day figuring out how to get something that people can actually listen to. Okay, so go ahead, Maria. We're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about some feedback that we received. So, Maria, you're on.
Well, I just, please, why don't you play the audio so that I can find the...
Okay, let's do this. We received some audio feedback. Let's listen to that.
Hi, y'all. This is Johannes from Munich, Germany. I just wanted to leave some feedback and tell you that I really enjoyed your discussion last episode about the dilemma of eating meat on Fridays or wasting food, because this is also something that I encountered. And personally, or together with my wife, rather, we came to the solution, or we figured it out for us that it probably is more important for us to preserve or to honor the food that God gave us, and just make another sacrifice instead of not eating meat on Friday if something like that occurs. In addition to that, I don't know if that's different in the US, but in here over in Germany, the not eating meat on Friday, it doesn't apply to travelers, guests, and of course sick people. And I really like the example you gave of the one. I don't know what it was, like people offering you like a dinner, and you're like, oh, am I gonna eat this because it's Friday and it's meat? But I think hospitality and is just valued so much if you take a look at different parts of the Bible, that that really makes sense to me. And the other thing was about the Catholic apps. I also use some Catholic apps that Christian apps maybe also that you didn't mention. One is how I manage to read my Bible on a regular basis is the YouVersion Bible app. It's really good because you can like download reading plans and I don't know, like translations of the Bible in like hundreds of languages I've never even heard of before. Then another great one that I used was Total Consecration. That was awesome when I used that. I mean, I did that now, the Total Consecration, so I'm not using it anymore, obviously. And yeah, I think you mentioned the Mea Culpa app. So yeah, I really enjoy your show. It's a little bit crazy, to be honest, but I enjoy it. So take care and God bless you. And as like we say here in Munich, Servus.
Well, you're really going to enjoy this if you like crazy. So, Father.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that
Yeah.
feedback, Johannes.
Yes, Father. What do you think about what he said regarding the practice of not eating meat on Fridays? I don't know if he was he speaking specifically about Lent or year round. I'm not sure how Germany practices.
You know, I'm just going to take a little bit of a radical view here and say that too many Catholics are going around treating these rules as the minimum that they can do and trying to find how they can avoid the minimum. When I hear you don't eat meat on Fridays during Lent, I'm hearing the call of the prophet in the wilderness to do something radical and beautiful for God and to not eat anything at all on Friday. And to say, I'm going to fast from Thursday night to Saturday morning, and I'm going to pray my guts out, and I'm going to do something really radical. Instead, I find so many Catholics going around tiptoeing around saying, well, I don't really think I could have, is a sausage meat? Well, what about salami? Could I have a pepperoni on a pizza? What about having beef broth in my soup? You know, they're kind of tiptoeing around this thing like it's a minefield, and I'm saying, just get on and fast, you know. Do something radical and crazy for God, you know. So I'm sorry, that's my view. So there we go.
So the recommendation to go to Red Lobster is not on the agenda for you.
That is a killer. We have a very posh seafood restaurant here in Greenville called Nantucket or Beltucket or something, and it's kind of, I hear Catholics say, "Oh yes, I'm giving up meat on Friday. Shall we dine at Nantucket?" And I'm like, "Oh, come on." You know.
Well, you know,
I'm for the John the Baptist approach. You know, let's have locusts and wild honey. You know, let's do something crazy for God.
Oh, well, this next piece of feedback was actually posted on the website, and you missed a fun show with squirrel heads. So listen to this feedback, guys. Hi, guys. Fun show as always. A few things have inspired me to put fingers to keyboard this week and leave a comment. First, horsehead squirrel feeder. Saw that somewhere a few days ago, and it made my week. And Maria the Godfather was immediately what I thought of. So that was Steve's pick of the week, which was a very hilarious bird feeder, or squirrel feeder, actually. Okay. And then second, back to the issue. We were having a discussion as to whether or not pork was a red meat, or I guess we're getting down into the nitty gritty of really objecting to.
Does that sausage have?
What kind of sausage is that? So Suzanne continues. Second, contrary to what seems a popular belief, pork is indeed a red meat. However, the good news is that bacon is not classed as meat. I believe that for nutritional purposes, it is considered a fat. So you're safe in eating all you want while still giving up red meat.
My favorite little bit of Catholic trivia for Lent, is it in Minnesota where they were given permission to eat muskrat?
Yes, the river rat thing, right?
If you're a Catholic in Minnesota, the Knights of Columbus have annual Lenten muskrat feasts. So, because somehow or other, some pope in the past gave the settlers permission to eat muskrat because it was a water animal. So there you go.
Well,
If you really need
let
meat
me
on
just
Friday,
tell you that
if you
that
really
would be
need
a
that meat on
Lenten
Friday,
practice in
travel to
and of
Minnesota and
itself.
have a muskrat and chips.
Yeah.
I saw the same thing this week about alligator being acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a water animal. Well, you know what? If I could take a cow and throw it into the river, I think it would become a water animal.
Yeah, on a similar logic is the way I've argued on that. Really, I'm vegetarian because all the beef I eat ate grass.
Yeah, I can
Well,
see
there you
that.
go.
So it works.
There you go. Well,
That's called deductive reasoning, I think.
I
Sure.
guess that settles the age-long debate that Jesus was a vegan, right?
Yeah, you make a good point, Father. That and we've had this kind of discussion in the past where, we're getting into the little minute details about how to practice all these Lenten practices and devotions throughout the year, and I think we're just like missing the huge. Where we have this little tiny microscope scope examining the thing, and we're not stepping back and seeing the huge picture, which is, hey, make some sacrifices, hurt. Feel some pain, and it'll help your soul.
Yeah, and I think also one of the things that we have lost in our modern kind of spoiled age is we've lost the sense of the value of asceticism. Asceticism is actually a standard historical classical spiritual discipline in which we actually physically make real sacrifices to advance our prayer life. And somehow or other, this discipline has dropped away. And during Lent, I hear people say things like, oh, well, I'm not giving anything up. I'm taking something up and taking up a new practice. No, that's cheating. You're supposed to give something up. Asceticism is this way that we actually take the first step in the spiritual journey of detaching ourselves from physical attachments. And asceticism has always been an important part of the spiritual path. And the really ironic thing is, when it comes to asceticism and self-discipline, we will sort of batter our bodies on a treadmill in a gym or submit ourselves to cosmetic surgery and all the rest of it to kind of look better and look sleeker, but we won't make that same effort for our spiritual lives. There's this kind of clash of ideas there. So
Mm-hmm.
there's 2 cents for.
That's a great way to put that. I appreciate that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, so we don't keep this thing going on too long, maybe we should shift into this portion of the show. And I just realized I did not warn Father that he needs to have a pick of the week, but that's okay. You can be like me, which I normally don't have a pick of the week, or I have somebody else help. But I'm sure that you'll be able to think of something. And a pick of the week can be a person, it can be a thing, it can be a book, it can be an app, it can be a concept, anything. It can be anything. So we'll not go
practice.
to yeah. Okay. So let's start with, well, Steve, you've already done your pick of the week, the Stations of the Cross.
Yes, I did.
Anything else you want to add? You usually have more than one.
That's all I thought of this week.
Okay. Well, then, Angela, do you have one for us?
My pick of the week is Religious Brothers, because one of my peeves, last week we were talking about pet peeves. One of my peeves is when these prayers of the faithful, people offer up prayer intentions and they say, Lord, we pray for an increase of vocations to the priesthood and for more religious sisters. And I always feel the pain of the religious brothers that are being slighted, because I went to a Marianist university here in San Antonio, and the Marianists are priests and religious brothers. And there have just been so many religious brothers I've had as professors and role models and people who worked with me in ministry and that sort of thing. And just the incredible sacrifices that they've made to make me who I am. So shout out to all the consecrated men out there who give of themselves so much. Thank you.
Good point. Excellent. Maria. would you
Yes.
like to go next?
I would love to go next. My
Okay.
pick of the week is thepracticingcatholic.com, which is a lovely blog by Joel and Lisa Schmidt, who many of you who attended the CNMC in Texas a couple of years ago met. There were presenters there, and Joel is studying for the diaconate, and they have a lovely blog. And Lisa came up with this fantastic idea to post. I think the name. Let me get the name right, because actually I've got a column coming up, and it's called Soup and Stories, and it's 40 days of soup recipes and stories that go along with it. And just to be clear, it's any kind of soup. So some people were initially thinking that they were going to be meatless recipes, but some of them are, and some of them aren't. And I'll have I think I'll have my story up in April. But it's a really neat. It's just a really neat interactive activity to share some recipes and part of what they call on their blog intentionally and joyfully living the faith. So that's my pick of the week, thepracticingcatholic.com. And then I want to give a shout out, because you know that Sister Anne Flanagan, our longtime friend, is moving to England, where she's going to be working with the Daughters of St. Paul over there to help them with new media and how to use social media for evangelization. And Jeff, I think last week you had your book. Her book was your pick of the week, right?
Yes, yes.
Five things about Pope. What's the title?
I'll have to. I don't recall exactly, but I don't want to go searching for it because.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. But I just wanted
Okay.
to give a shout out that on this week's Among Women, number 176 with Pat Goen, Sister Anne is on that show talking about the book.
I think it's called The 5 Keys to Understanding Pope Francis.
Thanks.
Yes.
So I just want to give them a little shout out for that, and give a shout out to another listener, Teresa, who recently emailed me to say hi. So I'm saying hi back, Teresa. So
Okay.
how about that? I really hogged this piece, didn't I?
It's the Maria Show.
It's the
And-
Maria Show.
Okay, my pick of the week. Hopefully, this is not what you were going to pick, Father. It's this book entitled "The Romance of Religion." Can you see that on the screen? By the way, I'm trying to
Yes,
screen
yes,
share.
yes,
Okay. And so again, I just started reading it yesterday. I'm about 25% of the way through, and I can't recommend it more highly. It's a very, very great book, and you can find it in a Kindle format, ebook format, or good old paperback. In fact, I think it was on sale yesterday, I believe. So check that out, and let me attempt to get back to the non-screen sharing mode. And of course, they've changed their UI again. There we go. All right, and last but not least, Father Dwight, do you have a pick of the week for us?
Yeah, my pick of the week would be St. Mark's Gospel. I've been rereading it for Lent, and in St. Mark's Gospel, the pick of the week within the pick of the week is Jesus as the warrior king. When you read Mark's Gospel all the way through, Jesus comes across as this man of action. I mean, he's moving quickly from one place to another. He encounters his enemies within the first chapter or two. He gives them witty one-liners and answers to their difficult questions. He's immediately engaged in battle with Satan, and you see him almost like Aragorn in Lord of the Rings, this returning king, this man of mystery who's engaging in battle straight on. I really recommend that readers sit down and read Mark's Gospel from the beginning to end like a book, because the pace of the story and the mystery of the story is just really powerful. So that's my pick of the week.
Speaking of that, do you believe, Father, as I do, that I know it's been helpful that we had the folks in the past break down the books of the Bible into chapters, and then later, a couple centuries later, into individual verses, because it really helps find specific entries and everything else. But I think that in a way it kind of hurts the way that we read the Scripture, because if we read it as a novel or a book that from front to back or from the beginning to the end of that particular book, I think it just makes a bigger difference to me if I read it that way.
Absolutely. The chapter and verse thing has contributed to treating the Bible, as Bible scholars do, as this text to be critiqued and studied and picked over, and articles written about it, and the study of the Greek and the Latin and all that. All of that is sorry, the Greek and the Aramaic. All of that is important, but no, the essence of it is to sit down and read Mark's gospel. Mark's gospel is also based on the preaching of Peter. So. When you read Mark's gospel, for Catholics, it's exciting. Here's the first pope telling us his encounters with Jesus and how it changed his life. Now, Mark is telling the story on behalf of Peter, or based on memories of Peter's preaching. But yeah, read the whole thing through. The other thing, of course, liturgically, we've split up the gospel into little segments to read at Mass, which we need to do. But more people should sit down and read whole books of the Bible straight through, because it's there's so much there. And in Mark's gospel, you have this. I'm realizing again what a great literary piece of work it is, in that woven through the gospel is this sense of mystery about Jesus. Who is he really? And like in all great works of literature, you're taken into the question through the story, and you experience the question through the story. So by the end of it, you're scratching your head and saying, who is this person really? Which is being presented to us here. So it's great. So that's my pick of the week.
Can I piggyback off of that? Just real quick, the ironiccatholic.com, or excuse me, ironiccatholic.com is an amazing, really funny blog, and she had a blog up this week called Biblical Short Notes, the Gospel of Mark, where basically she just kind of shorthand did this really funny version of the Gospel of Mark, and it was just, they were amazed, they were afraid, they were amazed, they were afraid, they were amazed, they were afraid, over and over again. and then at the end, not the end. Because if you've ever read the Gospel of Mark, that's kind of the way it ends. Just, this is not the end. So anyway, go check that out.
Excellent. All right, well, it's time now, finally, to end our show. Let's start with Angela, inspiredangela.com. No, wait, inspiredangela.wordpress.com, and Inspired Angela on Twitter.
Yep, that's right. I'm too cheap to get my own domain, so .wordpress.com, that's where you'll find me.
Yeah, we just haven't been nagging you like we did Maria.
Oh,
And speaking of nagging Maria, another cup of coffee, Maria's great blog. You can find that at begojohnson.wordpress.com if you'd like, or begojohnson.com. Right?
You can go straight to it with the .com these days,
Yeah.
all for $17.50 a year. So, yeah, I've got some neat things happening. I've got a poem up at Catholic Lane. So I posted interlude earlier on my blog and sent it over to them, and my editor picked it up immediately and posted it yesterday. So check out my poem interlude. It's funny because nobody gets it, but I wrote it during adoration. So there you go. Also, I've thanks to Steve's influence, I have picked up doing the picture challenge again, and so I put one up from Anaheim last week where I took a black and white picture of a Lego dragon, and that's getting some likes. So that's what I'm up to. And then follow me at Bago on Twitter.
Excellent. Steve Nelson.
Yes, you can look at my blog at everythingesteban.com, and if you care to, follow me on Twitter at Steve_Nelson.
Very good. And I'm the airline pilot guy. You can find information about that either by going to catholicpilot.com or airlinepilotguy.com. Just put out another episode last week talking a little bit about this mystery of the missing flight, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. So hear what I think about that and much, much more.
Yeah, follow him definitely on Twitter to see if we can get him, higher up on that list of
Well,
Twitter.
and follow, if you follow me on Twitter, I know many of you already follow me as Jeff Nielsen, but I in the aviation world, I'm Airline Pilot Guy on Twitter. I was mentioned on an article or in an article of the 30 captains or pilots who tweet from 30,000 feet. I must say that I do not tweet from 30,000 feet. Because I'm not allowed to, but if I'm not at 30,000 feet, if I'm on the ground somewhere, I do. And now that I'm mentioned in this article, number 26 out of 30, I'm just surprised I'm even on that list. I know that many of you are as well, because I hardly ever tweet anything on Twitter. But now you may notice a flurry of activity lately, because I feel like now I'm forced to to pay
There's
more
an
attention to Twitter.
expectation.
Yeah. So again, that's Airline Pilot Guy on Twitter. So thanks, Maria, for mentioning that.
Yep.
And last but not least, Father Dwight, you have an outstate. You mentioned it peripherally earlier on the show. Is it just on Patheos, or don't you have a website as well? Tell us about how we can read more of your great writings.
Yeah, my website is dwightlongenecker.com, and that provides a platform to browse my books. There's a store there. Also a link to my weekly radio show, More Christianity, which is on EWTN, and then also links over to my Twitter feed and to my blog. So the best way in is to go through that portal, and then that leads to my blog, which is on Patheos, called Standing on My Head, and that's where I blog every day, and about things English, things American, things Catholic, and the news and so forth. So come and join me.
So now tell us, what does Standing on My Head mean, or do we need to go to your blog to find out what that
It's a link back to a quote from G.K. Chesterton in his book on St. Francis, when he says, very often a scene is more clearly seen when it is seen upside down. And so he has this idea of, if you stand on your head, you'll be able to see things clearly. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do in all of my writing, is to be a little bit subversive, also to see the church, see our faith, see the world from a new perspective, so that we can, and to do that, you have to stand things on their head a little bit.
Excellent. And then I also noticed your little radio program on your radio program on EWTN.
Yeah.
More Christianity, is that obviously a play on the words of C.S. Lewis's Mere Christianity?
Yes, it is. It comes also from my book of the same title. I wrote a book called More Christianity to explain the Catholic faith to evangelical Christians in a friendly way, trying to say, it's not we're right and you're wrong. It's just that all you have is good, what you affirm is good and positive, but there's more to it than that. It's called the Catholic faith. So, yes, and gaining inspiration from C.S. Lewis's Mere Christianity, I did a little pun and called it More Christianity.
Excellent. Well, I think that if folks listening and watching the show here had not heard of you before today's program, I'm sure you've gained a huge number of new fans. And again, your latest book, check that out, The Romance of Religion, subtitled Fighting for Goodness, Truth, and Beauty. Highly recommended. Okay, well, everybody, thanks again for joining us this week. Everybody in the chat room, thanks for bearing with us with our little technical problems today. And I hope everybody has a great weekend, a great week, and again, we'll see you here next week on the next episode of Catholic Weekend. Take care, and God bless.
Thank you so much, Father. We
Yes,
want
thank
you to
you.
know that even though we don't have thousands of downloads, that this is like an online parish, and you gave a very lovely mission today.
Thanks for the invitation. It's great to be with you.
Yeah, we really do appreciate you taking out some time in your Saturday morning, and I know you're very busy. So, yeah, hopefully we'll get some people heading over to buy your book. I know that at least some of us here on the panel, you got some sales.
Well, good talking to you. I'm going to sign off now. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Father.
Okay.
All right.
Well, it's pretty good, I thought. I'm going to eat my breakfast because look, John brought me bacon.
Oh.
Which is evidently not a red meat. It's fat.
It's meat.
It's all fat.
It's fried fat.
It's meat. It's meat.
I think is Ashley Collins still doing the bacon?
Baconless, yeah.
Baconless Fridays. This is for you.
What, Baconless Fridays throughout the year, or just in
No,
Lent?
he's got a meme that's hilarious.
Oh, okay. I haven't
I
checked.
had catfish.
Oh, I did too. That
And
was
then-
penance, let me tell you.
Yeah, mine wasn't very good either. But for dinner, all I had was a bowl of black beans because that's all I had in the house. Definitely have to go to the grocery today.
That's normally what Steve has on Fridays. So.
Well, I eat a lot of rice and beans, but all I had was beans last night. So that's all there was.
Hey, no problem with that.
Glad nobody's sitting in the room with you.
Yeah, I was going to say there is a problem with that, Angela. But
No. The key is to put cilantro in your beans.
Nope.
oh yeah, that's right. He doesn't like. What does cilantro somehow
Well,
effuse
yeah.
or defuse the?
The gassiness.
The gassiness?
Yes, indeed.
No.
Really?
You know what the real
An
trick
ancient
is?
secret.
What's the
Pino?
real trick?
The real trick is when if you cook your own beans, right? You continually change the water in it.
Right. That
You,
too.
just, you rinse them, you put new water in, you cook them, you rinse them, you put new water in, you boil them again, and you just completely continue to replace the water, and that will take away a lot of the gassiness.
And the nutritional content.
Mhm.
Well, what do you want?
Can't have it all.
One or the other.
You know, it takes care of it, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't work for me. Not my system. Just ask
There's always
Andy.
Beano.
No, Beano doesn't work for me. I don't know why.
Try the cilantro trick.
I'll do that. I love cilantro.
Nope, nope, can't do it.
Steve doesn't like it.
I know
Like-
you don't like
Like
it.
pouring dish soap into the pot.
You can do that too.
I don't know if that helps with the gassiness or not, but
It just
Right.
makes bubbles.
yeah, it makes it worse. Cleans out your colon.
Squeaky
Makes for your own whirlpool.
Yeah. We're still broadcasting, aren't we?
Yeah, we
sure.
are.
Yes.
Sorry, folks.
You notice how now we're much more casual and fooling around with normal charades or whatever.
I just felt like Father was like, what?
I know.
What
I
is
know.
Poor guy.
Well, it's not my fault. It's Kelly. I'm sorry.
Oh, well.
It is Kelly, right? Kelly
What did
Cluck?
you say?
Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
Carmel Communications.
Yeah.
Hey, St. Patrick's Day is on Monday.
Yes.
Didn't even talk about that.
Yes,
I know.
yes.
It's
And
because
it's
we
not
were
a-
all England today. That's why we didn't talk about the Irish.
Well,
Ah.
it's not a day of fasting for once. Yay!
I know. I'm so excited.
So, who among you are Irish?
Me.
And
Well, we all are on Monday.
Monday?
No.
I'm more than 3/4 every day.
Okay.
I am
Nelson.
not at all. But my kids are.
Do you know what county? Steve?
Me? Wexford,
Oh, okay. I'm
down on
Cork.
the south coast. Oh well, we're Southerners together.
Mm-hmm.
Do you say
Yeah.
y'all?
Well, you have to say it with an Irish accent.
Top
y'all
of the
doing
morning,
today?
y'all.
I'm going to have a wee bit of grits with my eggs today.
And wash it down with some sweet tea?
I think I'm 0% Irish. It's like all Norwegian or Danish, and that's it. Probably a German
Yeah.
or somewhere. We'll have to talk to my
You just
grandma.
eat white food, right? Is
I
that
think
what-
yours is cheesy Danish.
Cheesy Danish. Thanks. I do like cheese, though. I think I'll have some cheese.
I think he
Oh.
was saying a different kind of cheesy.
I know, but I'm trying to spin it in a positive way. So, all right. Well, again, my
French is
apologies for
delicious.
screwing up the show again. Pushing the wrong button. Actually, logging. What I was trying to do was go to the wonderful show notes that Lynn always prepares for us.
Well, you should have
And-
had those up, Jeff.
Well, I know I should have, but see, the problem is that she sends it to one of my Google accounts, so to view it, I have to be in that. Jeff at SQPN.
Oh.
And then, but I'm doing this Hangout as Catholic Weekend, and that's a different Google account associated. And so I didn't realize that right in the middle of the show that it would actually just drop me out of it and then end up dropping the whole thing.
You know what I do?
What?
I use 2 different browsers.
That's a good idea.
Smart.
Well, you know what?
Because Chrome seems to really hate Hangout on my iMac, so I
Really?
use Safari.
That's weird.
It still causes problems, but it doesn't crash as
know,
often.
That's curious because the problems that I have are on Chrome as well. And I
Yeah.
always
Really?
forget that. Yeah, and I always forget that. I always say, "Oh, I have so many problems. I should be on the Google."
You would
That's
think
hilarious.
that Chrome. You'd think that Chrome and Hangouts would work well together. But on my iMac, I think they just hate Apple so much that they.
What
Because
operating system?
Google and Steve Jobs had a lot of fights.
Well, then it shouldn't work on Safari.
Yeah.
Well, it
It
just
works
needs to work
beautifully
better
on Safari.
because Apple made Safari.
Yeah.
So, what operating system are you using? Mavericks?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's interesting.
And So I don't know.
That's a good idea, except that what I should do is what I normally do and go over here to the other laptop for looking stuff up so that I don't affect the Hangout broadcast. But I don't know. I thought I could get away with it. I was wrong.
Live and learn.
We
Live
love
and
you.
learn.
All right, but honestly, now that Father Dwight is not here, and it's just us folks and the people watching online, the book, it really is good. And I thought about all of you, especially, well, just all of you. The kind of the references he uses to heroes in history, and it's something that I think is going to appeal to a lot of you folks. So check it out.
Well, I'll start reading it tonight. I was.
I'll be
looking
interested to
for-
hear what you think. He's a very eloquent writer, as you
I
are.
read his blog
Mhm.
at Pathos. Actually, I was reading him before. I had him, believe it or not, I had him confused for a while with Father Z in the very
Oh,
early
dear.
days of, well, in the very, very early days, years ago
Mhm.
in this thing, until I finally just bookmarked his blog because
We
the
tried to
other
have
guy-
we tried to have Father Z on once, and I sent him something, and it was like he thought I was some kind of a crank caller or something.
he had
Who is this?
he had
Oh,
something
speaking
to
of
say about Harry Potter, and I was
Oh,
on
yeah.
the Harry Potter Secrets of Harry.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's too bad Sarah couldn't join us today because I really wanted to hear more about her answering machine
Oh, I know, how
Briefing, yes.
hilarious!
voicemails.
Did you see that? What happened is that Father Kyle Schnippel's rectory was
Yeah.
broken. So
Yeah, I
I
was
know.
all
That's
his
terrible.
electronics.
I was following him on it was either Facebook or Twitter yesterday, and initially he thought that somebody got in with a key because he couldn't find any evidence that somebody had broken in,
Oh my goodness.
and so that's really unsettling.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But then he found that where somebody had jimmied a screen and I guess came in through a window, and then he was able to track it using the Find My iPhone thing.
Mhm.
But his laptop and his iPad, I guess, are still gone.
Yeah.
Although he did get his phone back, but his phone was broken.
Mm.
So
Yikes.
it's as you can imagine, somebody who relies on those for his homilies and everything else, that puts a big crimp into the way you do things.
Mhm.
I hope he gets it back. You can use that same technology for Find My iPhone with your laptop and your iPad as well. I'm wondering if.
Well, if they have them turned off, they won't do it. Won't help.
Oh, that's true.
So
True. Okay.
Anyway.
Well. So yeah, I'm sorry that I know that she sent us an email before the show and said that she was talking with Father Kyle, and I thought she was going to try to join us, but I guess she just got too busy.
Well, sometimes talking to a friend is more important than other things. So that's cool.
What?
I know. That's why we stay on afterwards for so long.
True.
Well, I have to go buy some pants because I'm going to colder
Outside.
climate. Colder climate. I'm going to North Bend.
That's right. When are you
This
leaving?
week. I'm leaving Wednesday.
Cool.
And,
Stay
so
warm.
I really have to go buy some pants. I survived our winter time with just my long skirts and some really just not work appropriate pants. So I need to go. I need to go get some clothes. So,
Where'd you say you were going, Angela?
South Bend.
Oh, I thought you just said North Bend.
Oh, did I say North Bend?
I think you did.
South Bend.
And I thought, is that like on the north side?
I was probably thinking Notre Dame.
Oh, okay.
But it's South Bend.
The whole time I've been thinking, you guys have been talking, I'm thinking, North Bend. Where is that?
Where
Like
is that?
Bend, Oregon?
I think there
on the
is
north
a
side?
North Bend, isn't there?
Probably is. If there's a South Bend, there's probably a North Bend. Probably an East and West Bend as well.
No, I don't think it works that way.
No.
Are you sure?
There's a Bend, South Bend.
None of this works that way. That commercial where the ladies, I unfriend
Oh,
you.
yeah. Yes, that does not work this way. I'm posting all my pictures on my wall. All right. Well, folks, thanks again for joining us on today's broadcast of Catholic Weekend, and hope everybody has a great weekend. And have fun on the celebration of the great Saint Patrick.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Which is not licensed to go on a bender this weekend.
No.
South or north.
South or north.
I'm
Okay, I'm glad you did that.
I'm going to a St. Patrick's Day party with my 3-year-old goddaughter, so can't be too.
Cool.
Sweet.
Oh.
Bring her green cookies.
Alrighty, folks.
Guinness cookies.
I'm going to go ahead and hit the red button for the video broadcast, the Hangout. So let me do that. Thanks everybody for hanging in there in the chat room. Lynn, as always, thanks for your help, and Mike, thanks for doing the show notes last week. All appreciated very much. So take care, everybody, and God bless.